I mean, I guess the hope was that on the main charge, the racketeering, that the jury would not consider R. Kelly and his band to be what the law defines as a criminal enterprise, which has been traditionally reserved for drug kingpins and mafia leaders. So it was kind of an odd fit by the prosecution, but obviously a good choice by the prosecution because the jury was able to agree with them that they believed this was a criminal enterprise. So that was surprising to me. The other thing that I was a little surprised was by the sort of the brevity of the deliberations. I thought that would probably go into, Wednesday or Thursday, particularly in light of how much testimony they heard and the complexity of the jury instructions. But obviously that was not to be.
Mm-hmm. Now, of course, we've heard this soundbite a little bit earlier throughout the day. If viewers haven't heard it, we want you to listen in. But we want to listen to this response from attorney Gloria Allred, who represents a number of R. Kelly's victims. Okay, actually, we don't have that soundbite, but she had some pretty stiff commentary there, as I'm sure you have heard. So in terms of justice for the accusers, do you think that the jury got it right?
Well, like I said, I'm not here to criticize the jury in any means whatsoever. So I always respect the jury's determination. Sometimes you're surprised by it, sometimes right in line with what you're thinking, but it's not my role to criticize the jury. Obviously, they spent 6 weeks painstaking listening to testimony. You got to give them all the credit in the world for having the wherewithal. And legal proceedings are not always as exciting as they are on TV. There's a lot of drudgery. There's a lot of evidence produced through testimony, through exhibits. So it takes a heck of a lot of patience to do that. So it's really not our job to criticize the jury. From Ms. Allred's standpoint, obviously she represents many of these individuals, and she represents them for purposes of civil lawsuits and civil recovery. So of course, it would be a good day for her, not just from the financial perspective of representing those people's interests, but obviously from their standpoint, feeling that what they have said and what they've come forward to face has been justified.
Mm-hmm. Now, it's been said that, in looking at the prosecution's case and the brevity of the defense's case, that not one celebrity or one female testified on R. Kelly's behalf. So where was his assistance? Where was his support in that matter?
Well, you got to think about two things. On the celebrity context, I mean, for the most part, that would be just inadmissible testimony. So, even celebrities that knew him from the music industry or knew him personally, their testimony would not be deemed relevant by the judge. And let's face it, in the Me Too movement, there's not too many celebrities that are going to put themselves behind anybody who is accused of these types of offenses. And, for personal and publicity and career reasons, we understand that. In terms of the lack of witnesses called by the defense, that would be a strategic decision by them. Clearly, one of what we perceived to be an Achilles heel of the government's case was the lack of criminal acts committed by the people that worked for Kelly. So, for instance, bus drivers and stage managers and the people who are doing security. We always believed that might be a ripe defense to have a cross section of those people in numbers to say, hey, from my standpoint, here was my role in this band, and it certainly wasn't that of a criminal enterprise or to be a criminal. So it was a bit surprising that they didn't try to put on a more robust defense from some of those people. But again, that's a strategic decision that Mr. Kanek obviously made and thought was in the best interest of Mr. Kelly.
Mm-hmm. Now, of course, you are representing Mr. Kelly in Illinois. So how does this type of, landmark case, if we want to call it that, how does this affect your strategy in your case, and how does it affect your ability to present it?
Well, certainly it's never good. Let's be honest. A conviction in another jurisdiction, especially one that gets this much attention, is never a good thing. What you and I talked about last week is what you want to do is win this case, build some momentum, shift the paradigm a little bit if you can, so that the jurors in different jurisdictions are looking at him from a different perspective. Now he's saddled with the baggage of this, conviction, which obviously be hugely well publicized, will be on people's minds who are jurors in other jurisdictions. But it's a little too early to say what's going to happen with all these other cases. I mean, one thing that's a little bit out of the ordinary for federal court is to have the sentencing hearing set so far out. Typically you have a conviction and then the judge sets the sentencing hearing for, say, 90 or 120 days. Here, we're looking at a sentencing hearing that's not going to be for about 8 months. And, there's reasons for that in terms of preparation and, the judge's trial schedule, everyone's trial schedules. But it's a little bit unusual to have an 8-month delay between verdict and sentencing, because clearly this case can have an influence on other jurisdictions. Prosecutors in other jurisdictions will be asking themselves, is it a correct use of our time and our resources to go ahead and prosecute a case where Mr. Kelly might get a draconian sentence in this New York jurisdiction, which would have an impact upon whether it makes sense for them to proceed. So that's the sort of catch-22 we have all this. We're going to have to wait a long time to figure out what his sentence is and how that it impacts the prosecutors. One other issue in the Chicago case, as you remember, there are other co-defendants. There's Mr. McDavid, who is R. Kelly's manager. And so those defendants have always pushed for a trial date to happen very quickly. And I think that's what's going to happen. The judge in Chicago is likely to set that case for trial. The big question will be, will Mr. Kelly be severed from that trial to allow those defendants to go forward quickly and to have time to digest, the sentence in Mr. Kelly's case? Because those lawyers are going to want that case to go fast in probably January or something like that.
Community, peace, community. Tell me what y'all thinking about this situation. If you're new, welcome to the community. If you're a part of the community, welcome back. It's a lot going on right now. R. Kelly attorney Michael Leonard speaks about the whole situation. He himself also feels that, as far as even another lawyer, a representative of R. Kelly, because, they're representing R. Kelly in the Chicago case or representing R. Kelly in the Minnesota case. So like they both have stated, this does not help their situation, because it takes away the momentum, everything like that. Other jurors in other jurisdictions, they tend to see the big publicity of the whole case and then tend to make their decisions based on those things. And then, so if you was charged with something like that, they done found you guilty over here, then you got other crimes that you're charged with in another state. A lot of times those jurors could be biased towards you based on the evidences that was presented against you in your last case, your previous trial, or whatever the case may be, or, the acclaim or whatever that is getting. Like, everybody, sometimes we move with what we feel and what we see in the media or we see in the public. So people's views could be skewed, and that is very, very true. But still in all, the case will move forward regardless of what the case will move forward. So, tell us what you're thinking about this situation. It's, he was charged with the Mann Act. And his charges are, if not identical, very similar to Dr. York's charges. And we saw that Dr. York received 135 years. The sex trafficking with minors for the use of sex, different things like that. They got 18 USC 2423, transportation of minors, 2425, the use of interstate facilities to transmit information about the minors. We also know in the Mann Act, because I am going to be doing a piece on the Mann Act, we do know in the Mann Act that there is no term child molestation in the federal. The Mann Act addresses those child sex charges. We also understand that the KKK leader was also hit with the Mann Act. So I'm going to go into some further details on that. So look forward to that video as well. When I go into the Mann Act, I'm going to go into certain people that's been tried and convicted of the Mann Act. Dr. York, R. Kelly, You know what I'm saying? The KKK leader, whatever the case may be. So I'm going to be going through a couple of different individuals so we could get a little further detail or further context of understanding, how they go about maybe trying the Mann Act and, how they got these people caught up on the Mann Act because, another lawyer of R. Kelly's in another case in, I think, Chicago, I think in Illinois case, he says that, I think that they put the federal thing on him, just to make it stick. This is what they're saying. You know what I mean? They think that they put the federal charges on him to make it stick. Also, other people are saying that has never really been done like that, how they used the Mann Act against him. But we also know that, it was used against York for a fact. But I don't know about celebrities. As far as celebrities go, I don't recall one that received the Mann Act or something like this. But I am going to be doing due diligence. I am going to be doing my history and my research on this topic. But please tell me how this is affecting you, how this story, I think about the story all the time. You know what I mean? Once I heard this guy, I was like, what? They gave him all the charge. Sometimes they let one or two skip or something like that. They convicted on all counts. You know what I mean? So that was pretty firm in their stance. And it only took them 9 hours and I think 8 seconds, if I'm not mistaken, to deliberate the case. 9 hours, 18 minutes, and 4 seconds. And at 3:07 is when they actually reached the verdict. And when they reached the verdict, they said that R. Kelly was very emotionless. You know what I mean? He was looking around the court prior to the actual verdict being read. And then they said his head was down, motionless and just staying just like that. And then, he just clenched his fist, he just kind of clenched his fist, probably in just realizing that, basically your life is over. You know what I mean? Or at least a major part of it from right now. He's a fairly older man. So he's 50, I think 54 years of age. So even a 20-year sentence damn near puts him out of the thing. You know what I'm saying? 30-year sentence. He's 80 years old. You know what I'm saying? So you could say you're looking at the rest of your life in jail. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to DJ Craig B. Make sure y'all go on to subscribe. Yeah, man, it's crazy, man. It's crazy. I am going to go into further details on the situation. Make sure you're subscribing to Community. Make sure you're subscribing to One Community 2 TWO. That's the other page. That's where I'm going to go into sharing more content how I used to do here, because I'm about to take this page into its new dimension, into the facelift. You know what I mean? The second phase of Community. A lot of great interviews, a lot of great things. I got mathematicians. I got all type of things. I got rocket scientists, man. I got great content about to come out of the community. So, and especially in the wake of all of this content that we've been covering, which has been harsh content to cover. It even brought some people in the community at me and at us in the community. You know what I'm saying? Me personally, I don't plan on hurting anybody within my community, but I most definitely don't allow and don't want to see anybody hurting my community or my people as well. So my stance is always on the side of my people. My stance is always on the side of right. Even our people are the people that sometimes do us wrong. And we have to understand that. If you white, sometimes white people do you wrong. So you can't just be looking at your people. We have to look at the world from a different lens, from a broader, wider lens. You know what I mean? You can't see things so closely sometimes. We have to look at it from a wider lens. You know what I mean? A lot of situations are affecting us all. You know what I mean? Us all. So we have to look at our commonalities. We all have our children. If you don't, you have children in your family. We don't want our friends' kids, our children, our relatives, children's, you know what I mean? Traumatized by individuals such as these that we're talking about. You know what I mean? A lot of these people being close people to me, to us. A lot of people being iconic figures and all types of things like that. Preachers, priests, people that you're looking up to for religious healing and all type of things like that. And then they're using their position of power for sexual deviancy. You know what I'm saying? They're just being deviants. Look at even Brian Pumper. He's in jail right now for sexual acts. Brian Pumper, you would think he's a porn star, right? He can get sex when he wants, right? Yeah. No, he's taking cookie. He's taking cookie, ladies. That's what the man's doing. He's taking cookies.
Oh, no, you can't be serious. That is some bullshit right there.
Table full of milk, brownies, and everything. He's taking cookies. Look at the kind of thing that we dealing with here. Look at the mindset. So you can't say, damn, this person got money. What they got? They got man woman. What the hell they got to do that for? Don't matter. Don't matter. Some people get off on a sick fetish. Some people get off on a sick one. You want to have power over a person. Want you to be powerless and all type of, yo, it's weirdos running around the town. For real. And investigate these individuals before you bring them around your children. It's go to men and women. It's single fathers out here. It's single mothers out here. Salute to y'all. Investigate these people and be bringing everybody around your children. Investigate people down to the T's. You got to meet people, families, they mother, they father, everything, man. You got to understand. You got to get your own texture of a person. Not to say this, that you would judge a person, but a lot of time you can see certain things, man. You feel me? You got a guy here, he treat his mom like shit. How you expect him to treat you like gold? It might could possibly happen, but that's a possibility because anything's possible in the world, right? In earth, in life, right? But come on, man. How slim is the chances? How slim is the chances? This is very slim. It's not even wearing a 0. It's wearing a -0. Slim. Slim chances that that's going to actually happen. So we have to be lifting our voices. We have to be staying on these offenders lists. All of us, we got the Citizen app in our goddamn phone. We all need to download that sex offenders list and be understanding and up to date with who's coming into our communities, alerting people in our communities, putting up flyers, doing anything we got to do in our local stores. So kids walk around in a store, they see, okay, if they ever see a face that look like it, it don't matter. Sometimes some people might get mistakenly blamed because they look like a picture that they done seen, but at least they have understanding and awareness of situation, and there are predators because a lot of people, not even just kids, are walking around not understanding, oblivious to the fact that there are predators in the midst, and there are predators that's all around us. You don't have to live like in a jungle somewhere for to be stalked. Like, people are predators, and it is a mindset, and it is a psychosis. So, lift our voices on situations. You know how we do it in here. I appreciate all of you. Cardena Star, shout out to you. I appreciate you, Queen. You know how we do it. Vibrating on a high level. Make sure y'all subscribe to the Queen. Make sure y'all subscribe to DJ Craig B if they have channels. I just love to always salute us, man, because that's what it's about, man. I don't think we salute each other enough, but, we going to start that. So I salute to y'all, man. Salute to everybody that's been contributing to the community, donating to the channel, helping everything, grow, because everything that I do so far that I've been for thousands of videos already has been for free. So, but it's just when you want to help your people, man. Not everything comes with a denomination like a $sign. So, salute to all of y'all. I appreciate all of y'all. Remember our mantra here. You already know the vibes. It is one love, one voice, and one community. Help somebody today. Each one reach one. Let's get